Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you're new here, please click on like and subscribe. Now this project, I'm just going to be burning up some scrap wood here. My wife found a little glasses holder, a little sunglasses holder. Now, if I was going to make this to sell to a customer, I would put a side on it, but since it's going to be used in my house, I'm going to do it like this with no sides on it. Basically, I'm going to cut a 14-inch piece of wood. I'm going to make it 15 inches just so I have enough to have a little scrap. I'm going to make it 14 inches tall. I'm going to have 4 6-inch shelves on it that are 3 inches deep. So after I get it cut down, cut off the rough edge, I'm going to cut my long piece first at 6 inches wide because that's how wide my shelves are going to be. Then I'm going to drop my saw down to 3 inches and I'm going to cut off 3-inch pieces. Now I want this to be about a 1/2 inch thick. I think this board I'm using is about 1 1/4 inch rough with no planing done to it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut them in half. I'm going to end up with a little bit less than half, but I should be pretty enough close to half that the board should work fine, should still have plenty of stability. And I'm just going to eyeball this cut because I'm going to throw them through my planer and plane them down to 1/2 inch or as close to 1/2 inch as I can get. Now you do not have to plane these. I'm just planing them so they're nice and smooth. If you get your cut close enough, like if you want to run it through your bandsaw twice, cut it in half, flip each side over, shave them down a little bit more. You could take a sander and sand these down to where they're smooth and they're pretty close. Again, this is a glasses holder. It doesn't have to be exact or precise, and we're using scrap wood anyhow. That's just going to get left over and cut up into other projects. So I've got them all planed down here. As again, like I said, I was going for 1/2 inch, and you can see by my caliper here, I'm just a little bit less than 1/2 inch. But again, for what I'm doing, perfectly fine. Now, if you've seen my other videos, you've seen me do this before. To me, this is just easier than trying to set up a stop on my saw. If I had a clamp stop or something like that, or if I was going to do 100 of these, I would set up a stop on my saw. But in order to keep all my boards straight, if I just tape them together, make sure they're nice and flush on the sides, I can run these through my chop saw, just chop off one end of them, like I'm going to do here. I've got a nice clean cut. Now I can cut off my 6 inches. I'm measuring it to the width of my board there. And I'm going to drop it down, double check it, and I'm going to cut it exactly the width of my backing board. And that way my shelves line up nice and even. Once I get the first set done, line it up, cut it off again. You may have to make some small adjustments here and there, but for the most part, that should be lined up about right where you want it at. Again, this is another optional step. I'm going to round over my edges on these. Now, on my bottom 2 pieces, since they're going to sit flush, this is not going to be a hanging piece. It's just going to sit flat on a desk. I'm just going to round over one edge, so I've got a flat surface at the bottom. I don't want to round over my bottom edge. You can round it over if you want to. Personally, I'm going to leave my flat edge. And then on my other shelves, I'm going to round over both edges of them and sand them up till they're nice and clean and smooth. As you can see, I'm making 2 of these. I had enough wood to do that with after splitting it in half. I'm just going to line those up, cut them down to the size I wanted, which was 14 inches. Now, I made a 3-inch blank to fit in between these, so I know I've got 3-inch spacing between them. I'm going to sand them all up, and then I'm going to start laying them in. Now I'm going to just glue these to the back. I'm going to use CA glue, and I'm going to use wood glue to hold them in place. I'm going to clamp them. I'm going to leave them overnight. That way they have time to dry. Again, if you're going to sell this piece, or if you're going to put it in a high traffic area, this is going to be fairly fragile. If you drop it on the floor, it's going to explode. I would recommend putting sides on it if you're going to sell these, or if it's going to be in a high traffic area where it may get knocked over. So I'm mixing the wood glue and the CA glue. I'm not actually going to mix them together. I'm going to create a small bead of regular wood glue. The wood glue is actually going to do the most binding. The CA glue is going to hold it in place while I get it clamped into place. Now I want some squish out on here, but unlike a cutting board or something like that, I don't want the squish all over the place because it's just more of a mess I've got to clean up later. And you can see my hand's kind of in the way, but I'm putting a drop of CA glue in between each of those little spaces I left. And again, that's just going to tack it in place and hold it down while I get the other pieces set up, and then I'm going to go back and clamp everything down. I also try to wipe off all my excess glue as I go. That way I'm not having to try to clean it up later. Walnut and glue look terrible if you're going to oil it. And as you can see, I've got a 3-inch spacing block in there. It's flat. You could use a taller block if you wanted to, or you can turn the block sideways to make sure your shelf is level. Again, I'm using it right now just to set these in and get them spaced properly. When I go to clamp it, I think I actually cut the video where you didn't see me doing it, but I turned this in sideways to make sure the shelves were level after I got the clamp in to just make sure it was nice and straight. This is the part I could have showed you a little bit better. What I did is after I got these in there, I took my 3-inch block and I turned it back straight up and down in there and then tightened my clamps down after I cleaned up my glue. Then after we take the clamps off, a little bit of final sanding, and there's your finished product. I hope everybody enjoyed the video. Please click on like and subscribe for more videos like this.